Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two Boys Media. My name is Bill. Right, today we are going to address the elephant in the room, visa retrogression. Now, this visa retrogression is in relation to the United States of America. And when I say visa retrogression, what comes into mind is the USCIS. Right, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain certain terms to you. First of all, I'm going to explain what retrogression is, and I'm also going to explain what the priority date is. I just want to build a foundation so you may understand this if you don't understand it. Those who know. Right. So first of all, I'm going to explain what retrogression is. And now this definition is not the Macmillan definition or the Cambridge definition or the Oxford definition, Charlie. See, this thing they make my mind the boss if I the wrong bar, but nah, we still there. This 2024, we're not going to give anybody. Right, okay, now back to the matter. What is retrogression? Now, this definition is according to USCIS. So USCIS, they define retrogression as when there are too many. So hold on, I'm just gonna look for the exact definition for you. Now, but just give me a bit of time. So right, okay. Let's see this. They have different definitions. I just want to see the one that is kind of simple and in plain term languages. So okay, so let's see what this one says. So it says retrogression typically occurs toward the end of the fiscal year as visa issuance approaches the annual category or per country limitations. Now keep this in mind, per country limitations. I'm going to explain something, or I'm going to share a data with you regarding this one. And then it goes on to say sometimes a priority date that meets the cutoff date 1 month will not meet the cutoff date the next month. This definition, this one they post my mind. Okay, this one also makes sense, right? Okay, so the whole point is, so visa retrogression is I'll give you the definition, and then I'll give you the layman's definition, and I'll give you a practical understanding of how or what the retrogression or the concept of retrogression is all about. So retrogression is when there's, according to the USCIS, when there is too much demand for a particular category of visa. So now US, they have different categories of visas. They have the F1, the F2, or the EB. So the EB, this video is basically on employment-based visas. I'm only discussing retrogression in relation to employment-based visas. Let that be noted. And before I forget, there's a disclaimer. I'm not an immigration attorney, neither am I an immigration advisor. Whatever details, whatever data, whatever information I share is basically information from the USCIS or information I have personally gone to fish out. So if you need expert advice, please seek one. That is a disclaimer. Now, back to the matter. So retrogression is when there is too much demand for a particular category of visa. So for instance, if there is too much demand on EB, employment-based visas. So under employment-based visas, we have the EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5. So let's say, for instance, if there is too much demand on let's say EB3 visas, that is when the retrogression occurs. Now, mind you, they did say that retrogression typically occurs at the end of the fiscal year as visa issuance approaches. Now, in relation to the fiscal year, the American fiscal year starts from October 1st and then ends on September. So for instance, so now we are in March, right? So that means the fiscal year started October 2023 and it's going to end this year 30th September 2024. So during that time, so that means from October 2023, 1st of October 2023 to 30th September 2024, that is one fiscal year for the for America. That's the United States of America. Now during this period, they have a particular number of visas to issue. Again, this video is basically on employment-based visas, so they have a limit. So they can either say, in this fiscal year we are issuing maybe 140,000 visas, employment-based EB3 visas, or 161,000. I think this fiscal year from 2023, October 2023 to September 2024, they're going to issue 161,000, 160,000 employment-based visas. So it says here, retrogression typically occurs toward the end of a fiscal year as visa issuance approaches based on the annual category or per country limitations. Now, underline that bit. I'll come and I'll explain that bit to you. For you to understand what retrogression is, you need to understand what a priority date is. Now, priority dates, I'm going to explain from here. Again, all the definitions are USCIS based definition. This is not Cambridge or Macmillan type of definition. This is purely USCIS, and its public information is on the USCIS website. So it says the priority date is when the immigrant petition is properly filed with USCIS. Right. So for EB3, for employment-based visas like nurses, I'll just use like nurses. If you pass whatever you need to pass, your NCLEX, and then you submit, you get an employer. Well, that process, when they file your I-140, the date your I-140 is filed, that is your priority date. So for instance, if your I-140 was filed on 1st of March 2024, your priority date is 1st of March 2024. Now, the fact that your I-140 has been filed on 1st of March 2024 does not guarantee approval. You may have approval if it's submitted or applied in premium. That's your approval is a bit quicker. Now, if your I-140 is not approved, they may ask for further document. So that is when it becomes a bit technical. So it's either when it was applied or when it was approved. So sometimes when it's applied, when your I-140 is applied, it gets approved on the go, or sometimes they may ask for further documents. So priority date and visa retrogression. Priority date is when, according to the USCIS, is when the immigrant petition is filed properly with the USCIS. So if they file your I-140 or if they file your petition, I'm going to use the word petition. If your petition is filed on the 1st of March 2024, your priority date is 1st of March 2024. Now, this date, or whenever your priority or whenever your petition was filed, is key, especially in the period of retrogression. Now, one thing I want to say is this is not the first time retrogression has occurred, or this is not the first time the visa dates have retrogressed. Retrogression has been a phenomenon, like it's been a long-standing tradition with the USCIS, especially when they realize the target or the goal or the number of visas they are issuing for a fiscal year is getting to its maximum. So it's basically demand and supply. So the only thing that is hitting us, or the people within this circle, or those who know if you know, you know, is that the thing was current though. Now, the date, I'm going to share data with you. It has been current since 2021. So January 2021 through December 2021, it was current. January 2022 through to December 2022, it was current. January in 2023 was current. February in 2023 was current. March in 2023 was current, and then April 2023 was current. Now, guess when the retrogression started? See, I can't even speak. My voice is retrogressing. Hey! Right. We move. So, it retrogressed in May 2023. And now, guess what? When it retrogressed, they retrogressed the date back to 1st of June 2022. That means it retrogressed 10 months. Now, this is key for us to understand. Mind you, it was in April. So I'm going to explain the visa retrogression date and how they issue it. So we are already in March. However, if you look at the date, anytime they're going to release a date, they release it a month before. So for instance, we are in March, but March's visa bulletin occurred in Feb. So you have the February visa bulletin against for March. And now what we are going to have, even though we are in March, the next dates that are going to be released, they're going to be in April. They're going to be the dates for April. So back to this chart. So when the dates retrogressed in May, so in May, that means all those whose priority date were before or on the 1st of June 2022, these were the only people who were going to be called for visa interview date. I mean, they were going to be called for visa interviews. So anybody whose date, if your date was after 1st of June 2022, you are gone. You have been retrogressed. Right. So people say, or we've all heard this, like retrogression is temporal, it's not permanent, it's temporal, it's not permanent. Now an immigration attorney explained retrogression as, she gave a similar concept, like you are on a freeway, on a motorway, and then you get a notification on your GPS or on your map that there is a crash ahead, or there is an accident, or there's an obstruction ahead, and then they tell you there's a delay of maybe 15 minutes, 40 minutes, or 1 hour, or sometimes 2 hours. Now what that implies is either you're going to meet that obstruction, or by the time you get there, the obstruction has cleared. Now it's the same concept with retrogression. Some of us have been retrogressed and we're already in the queue, and there's some people whom by the time they'll be cleared, by the time they'll file their I-140, by the time they'll submit all their civil documents, and by the time they'll be documentarily qualified, retrogression would have been over. So they will just sail through smooth. That is the same analogy with you being on a freeway or the motorway and there's an obstruction or there's a car crash ahead. There are two options. It's either you're going to join the queue and wait in the traffic jam, or by the time you get there, it's cleared. That is the same concept with retrogression. So they keep saying it's temporal, it's not permanent, but Charlie, like I'll share this with you, and you understand it perfectly. So I'm still going to stick to 2023, and then I'll do 2024, and then we'll go back to the date we retrogressed. So if you look at 2023, in May, it retrogressed back to June 2022. So mind you, we are in 2023, but the only people they were going to call for visa interview were people whose priority date was before or on the 1st of June 2022. Now again, in June, no change. What does that mean? It means they were still sticking to the priority date of June 2022, which meant those whose priority date was or were before 1st June or on June 1st, 2022, they were the only people who would be called for interview. Now in July, guess what? It retrogressed back again. So from June 2022, retrogressed to February 2022. What does that mean? You guess right. Only people who had a priority date before 1st February 2022 or on 1st February 2022 will be invited for an interview. Right. In August 2023, again, when I think it was on 1st May 2020. Now, this is the catch. This is where it happened. So it just retrogressed. It retrogressed 1 year, 9 months. Now, mind you, on July, the date was 1st February 2022. And then in August, it retrogressed back again 1 year, 9 months. That means people who had priority dates on 1st May or before 1st May 2020, you don't cast. These were the only people who be invited for visa interview. Now, on September again, no change. It meant the same thing. Only people with priority dates before or on the 1st of May 2020 will be invited for an interview. And now in October, now this is where it takes a twist. Now remember, I said the American fiscal year starts from the 1st of October to the 30th of September. So 1st October, in October, that means the new fiscal year has begun. And according to the USCIS, retrogression either starts or it gets better. The dates gets better in a new fiscal year. So now guess what? In October, when there was a new fiscal year, now remember in September, the date was on 1st May 2020. Now in October, as the new fiscal year began, there was a leap, there was a quantum jump. Now we moved from 1st May 2020 to 1st December 2021. That means plus 1 year, 7 months. The date had moved forward 1 year, 7 months. This was a good news for people under this category, the EB3. Now you can see that I'm sharing EB3 Philippines. Don't be alarmed. The reason why I'm not bothered is because the Philippines also, the date for the Philippines is the same as ROW, around the world. So the date for Philippines is the same as around the world. So it's the same thing. Don't be alarmed. So in October, like I said, it was fair. It leaped from May 2020 to 1st December 2021. This was a good news for anyone whose visa category was under the EB3. Yeah. Now in November, even though we're in a new fiscal year, there was no change. They still had to stick to the 1st December 2021. And again in December, it's still, there is no change in value. The value is the same. Still 1st December 2021, Charlie. Now, in January, guess what? It moved from 1st December 2021 to 1st August 2022. That means it moved forward 8 months and 7 days. 8 months and 7 days. This was good news. I mean, for people who had priority date in August, that means anyone whose priority date was before or on the 1st of August 2022 will be called or invited for their visa interview. And now in February, it moved again 1 month, 1st September 2022. That was another good news. And in March, this is where it's mind busting. This is where the broken heart started happening. Because, right, I'll tell you something. So now in March, now mind you, the date in February was 1st September 2022. Now in March, we're hoping that if the date in January moved forward for 1 month, we're hoping that the date in March is going to move forward at least, even if 1 month. I mean, Charlie, a win is a win. A win is a win. Now, guess what? In March, it only moved forward 7 days. Man, tire. So that means people whose priority date was before on the 8th of September 2022 would only be invited for interview. Now, how can you tell me this story? Because in February, you gave the date was on 1st September 2022. And then now in March, it only moved for 7 days. This is, Charlie, I knew someone whose priority date was 9 September. I'm telling you. 9 September, oh, Charlie. Woto, 9 September. Hey. So like I said, this is not the first time retrogression has happened, but what makes this retrogression a bit painful or a bit more the uncertainty surrounding this is because it's been current from 2021 to 2022 and the early part of 2023, and then now boom, all of a sudden it retrogressed and it's retrogressing. Woto. I'm just going to go through some of the past retrogressions that have happened. So I'm just going to start from 2018. Now in 2018, in January, it retrogressed to 15th February 2016. And then in February, it retrogressed again to 1st March 2016. And then in March, it retrogressed to 1st May 2016. Is it 16 or 18? See, my eyesight is failing now. And then in April, it retrogressed to January 2018. So retrogression has been happening. So the whole of 2018, retrogression, there was no current. And then in 2019, the only current happened in July. That was it. And then it retrogressed. It just retrogressed. And then 2020, retrogressed. So you see, this is it. So the current, it started being current from the end part of 2020. And now look at what I said. It started being current in October. And what did I say? There's a fiscal year. The fiscal year, sorry, it's not physical, it's fiscal. The fiscal year starts from October. So it started being current in October 2020, right through to 2021, 2022, and then early part of 2023. Now, what we can only hope and pray for that they're going to release new dates in March. Now, again, the dates they're going to release in March is for April. So hopefully, the first or second week in March, new dates will be released by the USCIS. And that is where we are going to know our smoothness level, because the way these things are going, there some of us, unless 2026, so, because Charlie, the way this thing is moving like 7 days needed. It don't cast. It just don't cast. So, I'm just going to share another data with you and we'll see. So, what you can see here is visa class employment base. Again, don't be alarmed when you see this. When you see Philippines, well, I'm just going to take the Philippines as I'm using them because their demand for the EB3 is quite high when in comparison in relation to other around the world countries. So we're going to start from October, November, December. So In E2, in October, they issued 5 visas. And then in November, they issued 5 visas. And in December, they issued 9 visas. These are for people under the E2 category. So in total, they issued 19 E2 visas in October, November, December. Now, when you come to the EB3, that's a skilled worker, an example they've given as a nurse. In October, they issued 348 visas. In November, they issued 383 visas. And then in December, they issued 412 visas. A grand total of 1,143 EB3 visas issued between October to December. And now this is the EW, that's a spouse and child. So anyone under the E category with their children and their wives, their spouse, their husbands. In October, they issued 87. In November, they issued 67. And December, they issued 65. A total of 219 EW visas. Now, if you combine all these visas, that means a grand total of 1,381 grand total of visas were issued, employment based. This is going to play a role here. Now, the annual limit for the 2024 EB3 category visa, they're going to issue 161K. 161K. That is the target they've set for 2024 EB3. Employment-based visas, 161K for the fiscal year on 1st October 2023 through to 30th September 2024. Now, remember what I said about the per country limits under the definition by the USCIS. Now, the annual limit per country is 7%. That means if you're taking 7, so that means Philippines, if you're giving 161K, Philippines has 7% of the 161. That means they have 11,269 visas to give to Philippines who fall under the employment-based category. Now, again, this is only under employment-based category. So if they're going to issue out, the 2024 limit is 161K. Philippines is liable to 7% of the 161. That means 11,269. Charlie, pardon me if my math is wrong. This one there. Now, mind you, they've already issued out 1,381 visas as at December 2023. So they have a remaining of 9,888 visas to issue out to Filipinos who fall under the employment-based category. This is why I said the per country limit plays a role here. The reason why I shared this data is because for people, I'm a Ghanaian. For people in Ghana whose priority dates may be current or who are already in the queue, it plays a role because I didn't share this, but somewhere in December or somewhere in January, they only issued out 4 visas under employment-based category. 4, just 4. And I think in February they issued 5. And then if you come to the UK, they issued 51. This plays a role. It plays a role to the per country limit, the annual limits every country has. That is why I decided to share this, just to give you a rough understanding of what it means and how and what it plays in the figures they are going to release, hopefully, if it works for our good. I'm just going to share a chart on how the visa bulletin looks like when it's released. So this is from the, you can check it. You can just type in visa bulletin and then you go to or you can go to travel.state.gov and then you go to visa bulletin and then it gives you. So once again, my name is Bill and this is Two Boys Media. I'm going to come to you again with more updates on the retrogression. As I said, every month new dates are released, so hopefully in March, when we get an update, I'm going to come to you with the dates in March, and then we'll see if there is a quantum jump or no change, or maybe if it's just 1 month forward, 7 days, whatever it is. Fingers crossed. We're hoping for the best in March. Once again, my name is Bill and this is Two Boys Media. Sign out. Peace.